While Romo was embracing the spoils of his newfound celebrity, Quincy Carter was getting his fair share of time in the tabloids. It had been 3.5 years since his shocking release by the Cowboys. The same span of time that tracked Romo's climb from obscurity to stardom saw Carter's destructive and humiliating fall from grace. After being cut by the Cowboys, Carter signed a 1-year deal with the New York Jets as backup to Chad Pennington. The week before the divisional playoff game, the Jets declared Quincy inactive, citing that he had left the team to attend to his sick mother. It was later discovered that Carter had checked into a rehab clinic due to a drug relapse. He was released by the Jets after the season. In April of 2006, Carter signed with the Montreal Alouettes of the Canadian Football League. After an altercation with the owner, Quincy was immediately released. On December 15, 2006, Carter was arrested for possession of marijuana in Irving, Texas. In February of 2007, the Bossier Shreveport Battle Wings, an AF2 arena team, took their chances with Carter. After 3 games, he was dismissed from the team for missing meetings. On October 12, 2007, the day before his 30th birthday, Carter was again arrested for possession in Shreveport, Louisiana. The Kansas City Brigade, a struggling AFL team, signed Carter in June of 2008 for the last 3 games of the season. But that same summer, Quincy got a call that could change everything. Bill Parcells had retired from coaching, but not from football. He was now vice president of football operations in Miami, and the Dolphins were looking for a quarterback.
Quincy was in Kansas City, and I remember speaking to him there a couple of times, seeing how he was doing. You know, it seemed a little bit better, and I was kind of still rooting for him, even though I wasn't, really any directly involved. But that's what I think precipitated, well, let's bring him to Miami and take a look at him, because we had problems at quarterback in Miami as well.
I didn't even think nobody's going to sign me. Arena ball don't have, drug rules or whatever. So, hey, I started back smoking, man. And a week in the training camp, dude, Bill called me down to training camp, got to work out for the Dolphins. And I didn't, and he knew, put it like that. He knew that something wasn't right.
It was a sad case for me because this guy was not without ability. And even when we worked him out in Miami, he looked good. And there would have been an opportunity there had he not been involved,
That really hurt after that because, man, I was coming in there and I think it was Chad Henne. Yeah, Chad Henne was there and I might be still in Miami right now. You know what I mean? With Bill again. So God called me again on the phone and I said, no, I don't want it. So I think the most was, that hurt me was being, having him and blowing 2 chances, actually.
I liked this kid. I liked him after I left. I really did. You kind of root for them. But you have other responsibilities. You can't just say, hey, okay, it's okay.
The classroom of life lessons for an NFL quarterback is in session 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And as Quincy Carter will attest, if you're not learning, you're leaving. For Romo, the 2008 season offered plenty of those opportunities, but none more eye-opening than a simple post-game press conference after an embarrassing, season-ending beating at the hands of the Philadelphia Eagles. The loss left the Cowboys out of the playoffs and the world wanting answers.
It's a fun game. It's enjoyable. We're going to try and win next year, that's for sure. And if this is the worst thing that ever happens to me, then I've lived a pretty good life.
Fans just really didn't want to hear that, and media didn't want to hear that. So when you combine that quote with the Cabo trip the year before, you know, Romo wasn't getting a lot of good PR there, and so it was just one of those things that he was getting it done on the field for the most part. It was a really good quarterback, but he was starting to get some negative press as well.
I felt like as the quarterback at that time, I needed to make sure that everyone knew we're going to come back next year and we're going to be better from this. I felt like it was like, at the time, I felt like it was my job to be like, it's okay, we're going to come back from this. We're going to be better. And you don't quite realize because you say those things, it minimizes the day. Well, I had a whole half to sit there and think during that game about how miserable this was and how we got our butts kicked. And, you know, it's one thing when it's at the end and you're emotional. I mean, I had 2 hours before, when the game was over, basically, where you're trying to fight back, but it was over before you talk. And I think more than anything, you learn just about what the right way to say things and the wrong way. You know, more than anything, I still think that, you know, if you're lucky enough to be in a position to play this game, it's a blessing. You just have to, those games in the end, it's just so debilitating, just so difficult, tough. No one wants to hear anything positive.
With the exception of a beautiful new stadium in the 2009 season, Romo and the Cowboys had little positive to report for the next 5 years. But in 2014, after 3 consecutive 8-8 outings, Dallas stepped back into the spotlight as one of NFL's elite. After a 12-4 regular season, the Cowboys drew the Detroit Lions in the first round of the playoffs. Finding holes in the Lions' stingy pass defense was next to impossible. And when Romo was finally able to find that sliver of daylight, even though his perspective had been forcefully adjusted to a horizontal plane, the reaction was real and spontaneous.
That was elation because it was so hard. I mean, the game was just, they were the best front we played all year by far. So it wasn't very easy. Everything we got was just difficult. And then you're in the hole early in the game, which is always tough. And I think, you know, I feel very comfortable in those situations now. When you're young, you're not comfortable. You just know the percentages and all that. Now it's kind of like, hey, if I'm just within 10 points under 5 minutes, I'll be all right.
The following week, Romo had the opportunity to put his 5-minute theory to the test. Trailing 26-21 with 4.5 minutes left in the game, Dallas faced a pivotal 4th down from the Green Bay 32-yard line. What appeared to be a game-changing catch by Des Bryant resulted in one of the most controversial reversals of the season.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain possession of the football during the process of the pass. The ball comes loose, hits the ground, therefore...
While most of the country was trying to retool their definition of what constitutes a catch, Romo's thought process was on an entirely different plane.
Well, initially, you automatically go into the mode of being like, okay, when we stop them, what's the time? And so I go up and I look, and they get a first down, and then I'm like, okay. So now I start to see that we're going to get it back. And I thought we were going to get it back in that last 3rd down. If they ran it, or we'd have under a minute, but it was 50 seconds. So we had 3 plays that I thought we had saved. There were 2 for sure that I was like, we're going to be able to get them on. That were going to give us a chance. So I felt pretty strongly if we got the ball back that we could go 50 yards in 2 plays, just because we hadn't used it, and I know that we'd waited on it. And so that part of it I felt great about. At the same time, as they got a first down and got another, it started to get I started to get a little upset, just on the sideline. I think emotionally, when it does, it just takes it out of you. Because then it's your season. It's not just a game, it's everything. And especially when you have a chance in a team that has a chance.
Cowboys fans have spent countless hours dissecting the non-catch, frame by painful frame. But for Tony, hindsight just doesn't have much to offer.
I don't look back very often and be like, man, what if I could have been, it's just a sad way in some ways to live life. But, it's always like, if he'd have caught it, we'd have been on, but then it'd been a challenge the next 2 weeks, I promise you that. And I think at the same time, it's gone, it's over with. And the thing I do now is I watch the tape and it's like, okay, what did Green Bay do in that game to give us trouble in situations, and what could I have done better, and how will I be more prepared? So, we have a brand new plan this year for any defense that plays us in that style, and it will hurt them. We didn't have, it just wasn't a play we ever thought of, and so it's new, but you can figure that out during those moments. And I think, that's what you do. You utilize them all to be better the next time. And if you keep doing that, you'll be the best version of yourself.
Learn from the past, build on what works, and change what doesn't. For Romo, it has been a simple but effective philosophy. And after years of searching, Quincy Carter has come to embrace that same basic truth.
My goal right now is to continue being the best Quincy I can be daily. And that's the first goal I got every morning I wake up. And every day, man, you got to take it like it's your last.